Sunset Overdrive. Alright, let's talk about Sunset Overdrive, one of the most colorful and chaotic games you might have missed. Developed by Insomniac Games and released in 2014, this action-adventure game is an absolute blast. You play as a customizable character in the vibrant and crazy city of Sunset City, which has been overrun by mutants after a contaminated energy drink turns its consumers into monsters. Yeah, it's as wild as it sounds. One of the first things that grabs you about Sunset Overdrive is its style. The game is bursting with bright colors and has a punk rock aesthetic that's super refreshing. It doesn't take itself too seriously, which is a big part of its charm. The humor is on point, filled with tongue-in-cheek jokes and pop culture references that'll keep you laughing as you play. But what really sets Sunset Overdrive apart is its gameplay. It's all about movement. You grind on rails, bounce off cars, and wall run like some kind of caffeine-fueled superhero. The traversal is so smooth and satisfying that you'll find yourself moving just for the fun of it. And then there's the combat. It's fast, frenetic, and ridiculously over the top. You've got a crazy arsenal of weapons, from explosive teddy bears to vinyl record launchers, each more insane than the last. Despite all these awesome features, Sunset Overdrive didn't sell as well as it deserved. Released exclusively for the Xbox One at a time when the console was struggling against its competitors, the game didn't get the audience it needed. Plus, its zany style and over-the-top action might have been a bit too much for some players. Personally, I think Sunset Overdrive is one of the most fun games I've ever played. It's like the developers just wanted to create a game that was pure, unadulterated fun, and they nailed it. The story is wild, the characters are memorable, and the gameplay is so exhilarating that it's hard to put down. If you're tired of the same old, and want something that's bursting with creativity and energy, give Sunset Overdrive a shot. You won't be disappointed. Scarlet Nexus. Scarlet Nexus is like an anime fever dream where you're battling grotesque monsters with your brain power, and it's every bit as thrilling as it sounds. The game throws you into a futuristic world where psychic abilities are the norm and a mysterious threat known as the Others is wreaking havoc. You get to pick between two main characters, Yudo and Kasan, each with their own unique set of abilities and storylines. Starting off, you're greeted with a vibrant cityscape and a soundtrack that gets your adrenaline pumping. The combat is a blast. Imagine telekinetically hurling objects at enemies and then dashing in for a flashy close-up attack. It's fast, it's smooth, and it feels incredibly satisfying when you pull off a well-timed combo. The blend of psychic powers and physical attacks keeps things exciting, and you'll find yourself experimenting with different strategies to see what works best. The story is where Scarlet Nexus really shines. It's not just about punching monsters, it delves into some pretty deep themes about memory and identity. You'll be piecing together the past while fighting off monstrous foes, and the dual perspective of Yudo and Kasan adds layers to the narrative. It's like solving a mystery while your brain is constantly juggling psychic battles. The characters are memorable, with backstories that make them feel real and relatable. Graphically, the game's anime-inspired art style is both striking and vibrant. The character designs are stylish, and the futuristic environments are full of detail. The Others are visually unique, adding a touch of the bizarre to the already strange world. The animation during combat and cutscenes is smooth, making everything from a simple attack to a dramatic story moment look fantastic. If you're into action-packed RPGs with a cool psychic twist and a story that makes you think Scarlet Nexus is worth diving into, it's got the high-energy combat and compelling narrative to keep you hooked from start to finish. And if you're like me and enjoy a game that mixes up its gameplay and story in intriguing ways, you'll find Scarlet Nexus to be a refreshing and engaging experience.
Oh yeah, there's a hawk in the sky.
Atomic Heart. Atomic Heart feels like a fever dream set in an alternate Soviet Union where things have gone wildly off the rails. Picture this, you're in a dystopian 1950s USSR, and instead of the usual Cold War drama, you're dealing with rogue robots, mutant creatures, and all sorts of bizarre science experiments gone wrong. It's like someone took the classic Soviet era and threw it into a blender with a crazy sci-fi horror movie. From the get-go, Atomic Heart grabs you with its eerie atmosphere. The environment is richly detailed, from the creepy, abandoned research facilities to the overgrown, desolate landscapes. It's got this surreal, unsettling vibe that makes every corner feel like it's hiding something sinister. The visuals are pretty striking, with a mix of retro-futuristic design and grimy industrial decay. It's like wandering through an old Soviet dreamscape that's been twisted into something out of a nightmare. The combat is intense and varied. You've got a range of weapons and abilities at your disposal, and you'll need every bit of them to survive the onslaught of enemies. The melee combat is surprisingly satisfying, with a variety of weapons you can upgrade and customize. The shooting mechanics are solid too, with a range of firearms that feel weighty and impactful. The enemies you face are all sorts of weird and creepy, from robotic monstrosities to grotesque mutants, each requiring a different strategy to take down. The story is a mix of bizarre and intriguing. You play as a KGB officer investigating a research facility gone dark, and the deeper you get, the stranger things become. It's got that classic what the heck is going on vibe, with a narrative that unfolds through environmental storytelling and scattered notes. It's not a straightforward plot, but it's engaging in its own chaotic way. And the characters you meet along the way are as twisted as the world you're exploring, adding a layer of dark humor and unpredictability. One of the coolest things about Atomic Heart is how it blends survival horror with action and exploration. It's not just about shooting things, you're scavenging for resources, solving puzzles, and dealing with unexpected threats. The game keeps you on your toes with its constantly shifting tone and pacing. If you're into games that mix surreal environments with intense combat and a weird, twisted story, Atomic Heart is definitely worth checking out. It's got a unique vibe that's hard to put into words, and it delivers a fresh take on the first-person shooter genre with its eerie setting and unpredictable gameplay.
That was so surreal.
Life is Strange. Life is Strange is like diving into a gripping indie film where your choices really matter. You play as Max Caulfield, a high school student who discovers she can rewind time. Sounds pretty wild, right? But what's cool is that the game doesn't just use this power for flashy effects, it dives into some deep emotional storytelling. You start in this small, picturesque town called Arcadia Bay, which at first seems charming but soon reveals it's got its share of mysteries. As Max, you're not just dealing with typical teen drama, you're also uncovering some pretty dark secrets about the town and its people. What makes Life is Strange stand out is its storytelling. The writing feels genuine, capturing the ups and downs of teenage life in a way that hits home.
Then the butterfly flew in, and I took a photo.
Max's time rewinding power isn't just a fun trick, it's a central part of how the story unfolds. You'll find yourself constantly thinking about how your choices impact the world and the characters around you.
No way!
Don't ever touch me again, freak!
Even small decisions can lead to surprising outcomes, which keeps you on your toes. The characters are another win for the game. They're relatable and well written with their own quirks and backstories. Max's best friend Chloe is a standout, and their dynamic feels real. It's like you're watching a drama unfold between friends who feel like they could be people you know. Visually, the game has this cool, artsy vibe that fits its story perfectly. It's not the most realistic graphics, but it has a unique style that adds to the dreamlike quality of the game. The soundtrack is also great, filled with indie tracks that really set the mood and enhance the emotional beats of the game.
I did it.
If you're into games that focus heavily on story and character development, Life is Strange is definitely worth your time. It's more than just a game about time travel, it's about the impact of your choices and the people you meet along the way. It's a beautiful, emotional experience that stays with you long after you've finished playing. Robocop Rogue City. Robocop Rogue City is like a love letter to fans of the classic Robocop films, with a modern spin that brings the gritty cyberpunk world of Detroit back to life. If you've ever wanted to step into the metal boots of the iconic cyborg cop, this game is pretty much as close as you're going to get. You're thrust into the role of Robocop, tasked with cleaning up the streets of Detroit, which are as corrupt and dangerous as ever. The game does a solid job of capturing that dystopian, lawless vibe that the movies are known for. From the moment you start, you're hit with that classic Robocop aesthetic, dark alleys, over-the-top criminals, and a lot of techie, futuristic gear. The story is classic Robocop fare. There's corruption, crime, and a lot of moral dilemmas. You'll be diving into a narrative that's both action-packed and thought-provoking. It's not just about gunning down bad guys, though. There's plenty of that. It's also about uncovering layers of corruption and making choices that impact how the story unfolds. Gameplay-wise, Robocop Rogue City is a mix of first-person shooting and detective work. The shooting mechanics are pretty satisfying, with a range of futuristic weapons and gadgets at your disposal. There's also a bit of strategy involved, as you'll need to manage your resources and make smart use of your abilities to take down enemies and solve crimes. One thing that stands out is the game's attention to detail. The environments are packed with little nods to the Robocop universe, and the character models and animations capture the look and feel of the original films.
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
It's like being part of a Robocop movie, complete with all the high-tech gadgets and over-the-top action. If you're a fan of the Robocop series or just enjoy a good, gritty action game, Robocop Rogue City is definitely worth a shot. It brings a lot of the charm and excitement of the original films into a modern gaming experience. Plus, it's always fun to take on the role of a cyborg law enforcer and kick some criminal butt in a futuristic city. Stray. Stray definitely deserves a recommendation. It's so much fun to explore the world from the viewpoint of a cat, and the developers took this concept and designed it to near perfection. Starting at the animations of your feline character, how you can interact with other cats, the inhabitants of this world and the world in general, and how everything is structured. You can feel that a lot of love and work was put into every little detail of the game to allow you to truly experience how it feels to explore the world as a cat. If you are on the lookout for a different kind of adventure, you should definitely give Stray a go. Stray is essentially a short adventure game in which the player needs to figure out things via puzzles and dialogue. Whilst this is fun and entertaining, I felt like the game was a bit too short for my liking. It took me around 6 hours to complete my first playthrough, and I spent a fair amount of time discovering hidden areas and exploring the beautifully crafted levels. I personally enjoyed the fact that I couldn't understand what the robots were saying without the help from B12, so sometimes I felt kind of alienated because I didn't understand the language but was guided by instincts and simple motions, which makes sense because I was controlling a cat, right? All zones are beautiful and low-key stunning in their own way. From the dangerous sewers to the wonderful small and bigger urban eras in which the dystopian cyberpunk style shines a lot. The story itself is quite simple, but the combination of the story, gameplay, and atmosphere was intriguing enough to keep me going. Also, the fact that this game feels pretty unique was something that kept me interested as well. One of the coolest things about Stray is that you can do things a cat would do as well: push objects to the ground, jump to places you shouldn't usually jump to, make robots fall because you walk between their legs, and meow whenever you like. Firewatch.
So what's wrong with you?
Excuse me?
People take this job to get away from something. So what's wrong?
Alright, let's chat about Firewatch, a game that's more than just a title on your shelf. It's an experience you have to feel to truly appreciate. Firewatch isn't your typical first-person adventure. It's a deeply personal journey wrapped in a narrative so compelling, it's hard to shake it off long after you've put the controller down. set in the stunningly rendered Wyoming wilderness. Firewatch places you in the boots of Henry, a fire lookout who is trying to escape his past by taking a job in the middle of nowhere. The game's hook is its beautifully sparse environment, designed to make you feel the isolation and tranquility of nature. But don't let the serene visuals fool you, there's a lot more bubbling beneath the surface. The real star of Firewatch is the dialogue between Henry and his supervisor, Delilah. Over the radio, their conversations range from light banter to deep, revealing moments. This dynamic dialogue drives the narrative, making it feel like you're living through an authentic relationship that evolves with each passing day. The writing is so sharp and emotionally honest that it's easy to forget you're interacting with a game and not a real person.
I know I can get a little pushy, you know, putting you on the spot about why you're out here and stuff.
It's fine.
What makes Firewatch stand out as a masterpiece is its ability to craft a story that's both intimate and expansive. The game delves into themes of loneliness, regret, and personal growth with a subtlety that's refreshing. It's not just about solving a mystery or navigating a beautiful landscape, it's about understanding the characters and their struggles, and that's what makes it hit so hard. The art style deserves a shout out too. Its hand-painted look not only complements the story but also enhances the emotional depth. It's like walking through a living painting, where every brushstroke contributes to the atmosphere of solitude and introspection. Sure, Firewatch might not have the sprawling gameplay of some epic RPGs, but its narrative focus and emotional resonance make it an essential experience. It's a game that teaches us that sometimes the most profound journeys are those that happen within ourselves. If you haven't played Firewatch yet, you owe it to yourself to experience this uniquely moving story. It's a masterpiece that stands out in a crowded field, proving that sometimes less really is more. What Remains of Edith Finch?
It makes sense to you. And I'm sorry about that. I'm just gonna start at the beginning, with the house.
Next up, we've got What Remains of Edith Finch, a game that's like a hauntingly beautiful novel brought to life. This one's a real emotional roller coaster and a masterpiece that you simply can't miss. In What Remains of Edith Finch, you step into the shoes of Edith Finch, the last surviving member of the Finch family, who returns to her family's old home to uncover the mysteries behind their tragic deaths. The game isn't just about finding out what happened, it's about experiencing each family member's life through a series of unique, often surreal vignettes. The house itself is a character in this story, a sprawling, ramshackle structure with hidden rooms and secret passageways that reflect the Finch family's tragic and eccentric history. As Edith, you'll explore these rooms and relive the lives of your relatives, each story unfolding in a different gameplay style. One moment you're navigating a comic book, the next you're living out a first-person shooter sequence, or even controlling a character as they float through the sky. Each story is a masterclass in creative storytelling, turning simple interactions into poignant, emotional experiences.
I don't want to make the same mistakes she made.
What really makes What Remains of Edith Finch shine is its ability to blend gameplay with narrative in a way that feels deeply personal. The stories are often short but packed with emotion, leaving you with a lingering sense of sadness and reflection. It's not just about the plot twist or the reveal, it's about the way the game makes you feel and think about the fragility of life and the impact of family legacies.
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
The art and design of the game are also top-notch. The house, with its quirky rooms and cluttered aesthetics, perfectly captures the sense of history and mystery. Each story's unique visual style adds to the overall immersion, making every moment feel fresh and evocative.
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories.
What Remains of Edith Finch is a game that doesn't just tell a story, it makes you live it. It's a testament to the power of narrative in games, showing that sometimes the most profound experiences come from the most intimate and personal stories. If you haven't played this gem yet, you're missing out on one of the most moving and artistically innovative games of recent years. It's a masterpiece that deserves a spot on every must-play list. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Alright, let's dive into The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. A game that's not just a masterpiece, it's a full-blown epic that sets the bar for open-world RPGs. If you haven't played this one yet, you're missing out on one of the most immersive and expansive experiences in modern gaming.
Done it! An iron fist he's got!
The Witcher 3 throws you into the boots of Geralt of Rivia, a monster hunter with a knack for getting tangled in political intrigue and personal drama. The game's world is a sprawling, beautifully crafted landscape filled with rich lore, unforgettable characters, and stories that draw you in and never let go. From the moment you step into Geralt's shoes, you're treated to a narrative that's as deep and complex as the world it's set in. What's truly remarkable about The Witcher 3 is its world building. This isn't just a game with a big map, it's a living, breathing world that feels like it has existed long before you arrived and will continue to thrive after you leave. Every corner of this world is packed with stories, from the bustling cities and treacherous swamps to the hidden caves and ancient ruins. It's a place where every quest, no matter how small, feels significant and interconnected with the larger narrative. The main storyline of The Witcher 3 is a gripping tale of love, loss, and destiny as Geralt searches for his adopted daughter, Ciri, who's being hunted by a powerful and mysterious force known as the Wild Hunt. But what really sets this game apart is the way it lets you shape the story with your choices. The game's decisions are never black and white, they're morally complex, and often leave you pondering the consequences long after you've made them.
Did he know they eat the living as well?
No. Really upset him too.
The characters you meet along the way are as rich and varied as the world itself. Whether it's the morally ambiguous sorceress Yennefer, the tough-as-nails warrior Ciri, or the charming bard Dandelion, each character feels like a living part of this world with their own stories and motivations. And let's not forget the game's attention to detail. The visuals are stunning, with a level of craftsmanship that makes every setting from the rolling fields of Velen to the icy peaks of Skellige feel real and alive. The soundtrack complements the game perfectly, with haunting melodies and epic themes that enhance the emotional weight of the story.
Just wanted to rest my eyes a bit.
Making her slog through that brick. No wonder she took
The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is a game that delivers on every front. It's a masterclass in storytelling, world building, and player choice. It's a game that doesn't just let you live another life, it lets you immerse yourself in a world that's as deep and complex as you want it to be. If you haven't experienced this masterpiece yet, make sure you do. It's an adventure you won't soon forget. Red Dead Redemption 2. Next up on our list is Red Dead Redemption 2, a game that's not just an open world masterpiece, but a genuine work of art. If you haven't played it yet, you're in for one of the most immersive and emotionally powerful experiences in gaming. Red Dead Redemption 2 is set in the waning days of the Wild West, and it does an extraordinary job of capturing the gritty, raw essence of that era. You step into the boots of Arthur Morgan, an outlaw struggling to survive as the world around him changes rapidly. It's a game that's as much about the end of an era as it is about the personal journey of its protagonist. What makes Red Dead Redemption 2 stand out is its sheer scale and attention to detail. The game's world is enormous and meticulously crafted, from the bustling towns and wild forests to the snowy mountains and murky swamps. Every corner of this world feels alive, with dynamic weather, realistic wildlife, and a day-night cycle that influences everything you do. It's the kind of world where you can get lost for hours, just soaking in the atmosphere and discovering new stories. The narrative in Red Dead Redemption 2 is where the game truly shines. Arthur Morgan's journey is one of redemption, survival, and loyalty, and the writing and voice acting bring his story to life in a way that few games can match. The interactions with other characters, whether it's your fellow gang members or the various NPCs you meet along the way, are filled with depth and nuance. Each character has their own story, and the way they interweave with Arthur's journey adds layers of complexity to the overall narrative. One of the most impressive aspects of Red Dead Redemption 2 is how it makes you feel a part of its world. The game's attention to detail is evident in everything from the realistic horse mechanics and intricate crafting systems to the way the characters react to your choices. There's a sense of immersion that pulls you into the life of an outlaw and makes you feel every triumph and setback along the way. And let's not forget the visuals and sound design. The game's graphics are stunning, with breathtaking landscapes and meticulously designed environments that make every moment feel cinematic. The soundtrack, with its haunting melodies and stirring compositions, enhances the emotional impact of the story and helps to create a truly memorable experience.
Get down here now, you inbred trash!
Red Dead Redemption 2 isn't just a game, it's an experience that captures the essence of the Wild West with unparalleled depth and realism. It's a journey through a world that feels both grand and intimate, and it's a story that resonates long after the credits roll. If you haven't had the chance to dive into this masterpiece yet, make sure you carve out some time for it. This is one game that truly deserves a spot on your must-play list. Detroit Become Human. Up next, let's talk about Detroit Become Human, a game that takes a bold and thought-provoking dive into the future of artificial intelligence and what it means to be human. If you haven't experienced this one yet, you're in for a wild ride through a world where every choice matters. Detroit Become Human is set in a futuristic Detroit where androids have become part of everyday life. You play as 3 different androids, Kara, Marcus, and Connor, each with their own unique perspectives and storylines.
Insistence. Especially not from a plastic asshole like you.
The game is all about choices and consequences, and the way it intertwines these 3 narratives is nothing short of impressive. What really sets Detroit Become Human apart is its focus on branching storylines. Every decision you make has a ripple effect, altering the course of the narrative in significant ways.
Piece by piece. They're going to destroy you.
The game's flowchart system helps you track how your choices impact the story, making each playthrough a unique experience. Whether you're leading a peaceful protest, making life or death decisions, or navigating complex relationships, the weight of your choices feels incredibly real.
Having existential doubts, Connor? Sure you're not going deviant too?
The game's visual presentation is top-notch, with lifelike character models and detailed environments that make the futuristic world of Detroit feel both captivating and believable. The facial animations in particular are impressive and really help bring the characters to life, making their struggles and triumphs feel all the more personal. Detroit Become Human is a game that challenges you to think deeply about the nature of consciousness and the consequences of your actions. It's a cinematic experience that's both engaging and emotionally charged, with a narrative that's shaped by every choice you make.
It's an exodus. Much of Detroit's population are trying.
If you're looking for a game that will make you question what it means to be human and how far you'd go for freedom, this one's definitely a must-play.
It's 100% guaranteed you people will.
Cyberpunk 2077. Next on our list is Cyberpunk 2077, a game that, despite its tumultuous launch, has proven to be an expansive and immersive dive into a dystopian future that's hard to forget. If you haven't jumped into Night City yet, you're in for an adventure that's as sprawling as it is ambitious.
Tell me, quick version. Our agent at Biotechnica suspects.
Set in the neon-lit, crime-ridden metropolis of Night City, Cyberpunk 2077 throws you into a world where technology and humanity collide in both fascinating and often grim ways. You play as V, a mercenary with a customizable background looking to make a name for themselves in a city where everyone's trying to get ahead no matter the cost.
I mean, maybe it's not as big as that, but just that he's fronted by a little known.
What makes Cyberpunk 2077 stand out is its richly detailed world. Night City is a place where every district has its own character, from the bustling streets of Watson to the glitzy heights of City Center. The sheer scale of the city is impressive, and it's filled with vibrant characters, intriguing side quests, and a ton of lore that builds out this cyberpunk universe. Whether you're diving into the main story or getting lost in the myriad of side activities, the depth of the world is captivating. The narrative is driven by V's search for a legendary implant that could grant immortality, and the story weaves together themes of identity, technology, and the human condition in a way that's both engaging and thought-provoking. The choices you make throughout the game have significant impacts on the story and the world around you, offering multiple endings based on how you interact with the people and factions of Night City. While the game had a rocky start with numerous bugs and performance issues, CD Projekt Red has been steadily working to address these problems and improve the overall experience.
Steps of an orphanage once, and now stops you to ask if you got a smoke for her.
Despite the initial challenges, Cyberpunk 2077 has evolved into a game with a lot to offer, especially for those who enjoy deep narrative experiences and a rich open world. Cyberpunk is a game that pushes the boundaries of what a modern RPG can be, with a world that's both awe-inspiring and dystopian. It's a game that offers a deep dive into a future where technology and humanity are intertwined in complex and often dark ways. If you're up for an expansive adventure that explores the edges of human experience in a cyberpunk setting, this one's definitely worth your time.
Legends, know where you'll find
Metro Exodus. Our next game on the list is Metro Exodus, a gripping and atmospheric journey through a post-apocalyptic Russia that's as haunting as it is beautiful. If you're into immersive storytelling and atmospheric world building, this game should definitely be on your radar. Metro Exodus continues the story of Artyom, the protagonist from the previous Metro games, as he embarks on a daring journey across the Russian wilderness. After years of living in the underground tunnels of Moscow, Artyom and his fellow survivors set out on a quest for a new home, traveling through a war-torn, radioactive landscape that's both breathtaking and dangerous.
You think I'd also love to live on.
What sets Metro Exodus apart is its shift from the claustrophobic tunnels of Moscow to a more open-world experience. The game offers a series of vast, diverse environments to explore, each with its own unique challenges and secrets. From snowy wastelands to sun-scorched deserts, the game's environments are rich in detail and atmosphere, making each area feel like a living, breathing world. The narrative in Metro Exodus is deeply engaging, blending personal stories with broader themes of survival and hope. As Artyom and his crew journey through the desolate Russian countryside, they encounter a range of characters and factions, each with their own motives and backgrounds.
Silent, Artyom, because it's dead.
The choices you make throughout the game impact the story and how the world evolves, adding layers of depth to the overall experience. The game's visuals are stunning, with highly detailed environments and realistic weather effects that enhance the sense of immersion. The attention to detail extends to the character models and animations, making the world of Metro Exodus feel vivid and alive. The atmospheric soundtrack and sound design further immerse you in the game, with eerie, haunting melodies and realistic environmental sounds that heighten the tension and emotional impact of the story. One of the standout features of Metro Exodus is its commitment to realism and survival. The game emphasizes the need to manage resources such as ammunition and supplies, which adds a layer of challenge and strategy to the gameplay. The dynamic weather and day-night cycle also play a crucial role, affecting how you approach different situations and navigate the world. Overall, Metro Exodus is a masterful blend of storytelling, atmosphere, and gameplay. It offers a deep, immersive experience that takes you on a journey through a beautifully desolate world filled with danger and wonder. If you're looking for a game that combines a rich narrative with a sprawling, open-world environment, Metro Exodus is definitely worth exploring. The Last of Us Part 1.
Oh, I don't think these guys were infected.
Little matter.
Let's dive into The Last of Us Part 1, a game that's not just a story, but an experience that digs right into your soul. If you haven't played this gem yet, you're in for a journey that will make you laugh, cry, and question everything you thought you knew about humanity. Set in a post-apocalyptic world where a fungal infection has turned people into nightmarish creatures, this game puts you in the shoes of Joel and Ellie. Joel, a grizzled survivor with a tragic past, and Ellie, a young girl who might just hold the key to saving humanity, form an unlikely but deeply compelling duo. Their journey across a ravaged America isn't just about surviving the physical threats, but also the emotional and psychological toll of this new world.
Get to your vehicle.
Stay in the shadows.
What makes The Last of Us Part 1 stand out isn't just its heart-stopping moments or intense gameplay, it's the raw, honest storytelling. The bond between Joel and Ellie is portrayed with such depth and authenticity that it feels like you're experiencing their struggle and growth firsthand. Their conversations, their conflicts, and their quiet moments of connection are crafted with such care that you'll find yourself truly invested in their story. The visuals are stunning, even more so if you're diving into the remastered version. The world is beautifully bleak with every crumbling building and overgrown path adding to the atmosphere of desolation. The character animations are incredibly lifelike, making every emotion and reaction feel real. It's like walking through a living, breathing painting that tells a story with every detail.
Spots of gold, my lucky bastards.
See if there's anything you can forage while we wait.
Gameplay-wise, The Last of Us Part 1 keeps you on edge. Whether you're sneaking through a desolate building, crafting makeshift weapons, or engaging in intense combat, the tension is always palpable. It's not just about action, but about making choices that impact your survival, and the game does a fantastic job of making each decision feel meaningful.
Okay.
Let's get a move on.
Playing The Last of Us Part 1 is like reading a really good book that you can't put down, but one that you also never really want to end. It's a profound exploration of human connection and resilience in the face of overwhelming adversity. If you're into games that make you feel and think deeply, this one's definitely a must-play.
He's pissed, but he's not gonna do anything. You sure about that? Stop!
Joel?
You left us to die out there. No, you had a good chance of making it, and you did.
Uncharted 4. Alright, let's talk about Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, the game that not only wraps up Nathan Drake's epic saga, but also sets a gold standard for action-adventure games. If you've ever dreamed of being an adventurer, exploring hidden treasures, and dodging death at every turn, this game is basically your cinematic action movie come to life. In Uncharted 4, Nathan Drake is living a quieter life, retired from the treasure hunting game. But of course, peace doesn't last long when his long-lost brother Sam shows up, pulling him back into a globe-trotting adventure. This time, the stakes are higher than ever, involving lost pirate treasure, ancient mysteries, and more breathtaking set pieces than you can shake a stick at. What really makes Uncharted 4 shine is its ability to blend blockbuster action with intimate personal storytelling. The game doesn't just throw you into thrilling chases and explosive shootouts, it also takes time to develop its characters, especially Nate and his relationships. You get to see him grapple with his past, his relationships, and the cost of living a life of adventure. It's not just about finding treasure, it's about what's truly valuable in life. Visually, Uncharted 4 is a stunner. The environments are jaw-droppingly gorgeous, from lush tropical islands to crumbling ruins and snowy mountaintops. The level of detail is astounding, and the game's ability to transition between epic set pieces and quiet, contemplative moments is seamless. It's like being inside a high-octane action movie where you're not just watching, but actively participating.
Don't snap, don't snap!
Gameplays where Uncharted 4 really gets your adrenaline pumping. The climbing mechanics are smooth, the gunplay is tight, and the platforming feels as exhilarating as ever. But what sets this game apart is its fantastic variety of sequences. 1 minute you're scaling a cliffside, and the next you're engaging in a high-speed chase through a bustling city. The game keeps you on your toes with its mix of puzzles, combat, and exploration. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End is more than just an action-adventure game. It's a heartfelt farewell to one of gaming's most beloved characters. It's a game that knows how to thrill you, make you laugh, and tug at your heartstrings.
Got it. Let's go.
If you've ever wanted to go on a grand adventure and experience a story that's both epic and personal, this one's a must-play. Tomb Raider 2013. Let's dive into Tomb Raider 2013, a game that rebooted the iconic series and gave Lara Croft a whole new level of depth and grit. If you're looking for a fresh take on a classic character and an adrenaline-pumping adventure, this is where it all began.
You can have the best form and technique in the world, but it won't mean a thing.
In this reboot, we meet a young Lara Croft just starting her journey as an adventurer. The game takes us to the treacherous island of Yamatai, where Lara and her expedition team are shipwrecked. What follows is a harrowing fight for survival against both hostile locals and a mysterious cult. Lara's transformation from a frightened academic into a hardened survivor is at the core of this intense narrative. One of the standout features of Tomb Raider 2013 is its ability to make you feel like you're right there with Lara. The game's environment is rich and immersive, from dense forests and ancient ruins to crumbling temples. Each location is meticulously crafted, making exploration feel both thrilling and dangerous. You'll find yourself scaling cliffs, solving intricate puzzles, and uncovering hidden secrets as you guide Lara through her perilous journey. Gameplay-wise, this Tomb Raider reboot combines action and survival elements in a way that's both exciting and challenging. The combat is visceral and engaging, with a range of weapons and skills at your disposal. The traversal and climbing mechanics are smooth and intuitive, making Lara's daring escapes and daring feats feel satisfying. The crafting system adds another layer of depth, allowing you to upgrade your gear and customize your approach to survival. The story is where Tomb Raider 2013 truly shines. Lara Croft is reintroduced with a more relatable and vulnerable persona. Her character development is compelling as you witness her struggle with fear and doubt, only to emerge stronger and more determined. The narrative is emotionally charged, and Lara's journey from an inexperienced explorer to a resilient hero is portrayed with both intensity and nuance. Visually, the game is impressive for its time, with detailed environments and realistic character models. The lush, vibrant settings contrast sharply with the harsh, brutal realities of survival, creating a compelling visual narrative that enhances the overall experience. Tomb Raider 2013 is more than just a reboot, it's a reinvention of a beloved franchise, giving Lara Croft a fresh start while staying true to the essence of her character. If you're up for an adventure that combines intense action with a deep, personal story, this game is a must-play. It's a thrilling ride that not only redefines Lara Croft, but also sets the stage for her future exploits. Spiderman 2018. Alright, let's talk about Spider-Man 2018, the game that gave us a chance to live out our superhero fantasies in a way that's both exhilarating and heartfelt. If you've ever dreamed of swinging through the streets of New York City, fighting bad guys and balancing a double life, this game is your ticket to that fantasy. From the moment you start swinging through the city, it's clear this game isn't just about web slinging and wall crawling, it's about becoming Spider-Man in every sense of the word. The story follows Peter Parker, who's been Spider-Man for a while now, dealing with the usual superhero stuff, saving the city, fighting villains, and trying to keep his personal life from falling apart. It's a great blend of high-flying action and deep, character-driven storytelling. The game's portrayal of New York City is just breathtaking. It's not just a backdrop, but a living, breathing part of the experience. The city feels alive with detail and vibrancy, and swinging between skyscrapers is one of the most exhilarating things you can do in a video game. And the fluidity and freedom you feel while web slinging are unmatched, and you'll find yourself getting lost in the thrill of just traversing the city. Combat in Spider-Man 2018 is a blast, mixing classic beat-em-up style action with some really cool acrobatics. You've got a range of gadgets and abilities that make each fight feel dynamic and fresh. The game encourages you to use Spider-Man's agility and creativity to take down enemies in style, and the result is a combat system that feels both satisfying and fun. What really makes this game stand out is its focus on character development. Peter Parker's dual life is portrayed with a lot of heart. You see him struggle with the responsibilities of being Spider-Man while trying to maintain his relationships and his day job. The interactions with characters like Mary Jane Watson, Aunt May, and his mentor Norman Osborn add layers to the story and make the world feel richer and more authentic. And let's not forget about the visuals. The game looks stunning, with detailed character models and environments that really pop. The attention to detail in the city's design and the fluid animation during web swinging and combat make the whole experience immersive and enjoyable. Spider-Man 2018 is more than just a superhero game, it's a love letter to the character and his world. It captures the essence of what makes Spider-Man such a beloved hero, his bravery, his humor, and his humanity. If you're a fan of the web slinger or just looking for an awesome open world adventure, this game is definitely worth checking out. Swing by and see for yourself, you won't be disappointed. God of War 2018.
You are not ready.
What? Are you serious?
Let's dive into God of War, a game that's nothing short of a masterpiece. If you've ever wondered how to blend epic mythology with deep, personal storytelling, this game is your blueprint. This isn't just another entry in the series, it's a complete reinvention of Kratos' story. Set years after the original trilogy, Kratos is now living in the Norse realms with his young son Atreus. Gone are the days of rage-driven rampages in Greece. Instead, we're introduced to a Kratos who's trying to leave his past behind and be a father. But as you'd expect, trouble isn't far behind. From the moment you pick up the controller, you're thrust into a world that's as brutal as it is beautiful. The game's Norse setting is a rich tapestry of myth and lore, and it's stunningly brought to life. The environments are lush and varied, from towering mountains to eerie forests, and every detail feels meticulously crafted. The seamless transition from cinematic cutscenes to gameplay makes the world feel alive and immersive. Combat in God of War is a total overhaul from previous games. The iconic Blades of Chaos are replaced with a more grounded weapon, the Leviathan Axe. It's not just a new weapon, it's a whole new way of fighting. The combat is visceral and satisfying, with a mix of strategic depth and raw power. The way Kratos swings his axe and interacts with the environment makes every fight feel dynamic and engaging. But what really sets this game apart is its focus on storytelling. The relationship between Kratos and Atreus is the heart of the game. Watching their bond grow as they face challenges together is both moving and compelling. Atreus isn't just a sidekick, he's integral to the story and the gameplay, and his interactions with Kratos add emotional weight to every encounter. Visually, the game is a showstopper. The attention to detail in the character models, the lighting, and the world design is incredible. The game's technical prowess complements its storytelling, making for an experience that's as stunning as it is engaging. God of War 2018 isn't just a reboot, it's a reimagining of a beloved character and his world. It manages to balance epic, mythological action with a deeply personal story of redemption and fatherhood. If you're looking for a game that combines breathtaking visuals, compelling combat, and a narrative that'll tug at your heartstrings, this is one you definitely shouldn't miss, as Dusk Falls.
My name is Zoe Walker. Not so long ago, I wanted to be a journalist.
So, what's the deal with As Dusk Falls? At first glance, it might look like just another indie game, but it's got a lot more going on under the hood. This game is a narrative adventure that throws you right into a gripping, branching story. It's not your typical adventure, though it's got this unique visual style that's a bit like a moving graphic novel. The art might take some getting used to since it's got this sketchy, almost comic book vibe, but once you get into it, it really pulls you in. The story revolves around two families caught up in a heist gone wrong, and let me tell you, it's intense. The decisions you make really matter, and they affect how the whole story unfolds. It's all about the choices you make, whether you choose to be brave or cowardly, empathetic or selfish. These choices ripple through the narrative, shaping the characters and their relationships in ways that are both surprising and impactful. One of the coolest things about Dusk Falls is how it handles its dialogue and decision making. You get these tense, dramatic moments where you have to make split-second choices that can change everything. It's a bit like those choose-your-own-adventure books we used to read as kids, but with a much deeper and more complex narrative. And the voice acting?
All right, everybody, on your feet.
Solid. The cast does a fantastic job of bringing these characters to life, making the stakes feel all the more real. Plus, the way the game presents its story using both the visual style and the voice acting creates this really immersive experience that keeps you hooked from start to finish. If you're into games that focus on storytelling and character development, as Dusk Falls is definitely worth a look. It's one of those games that might not have made a huge splash in the mainstream, but it's got this quiet, compelling charm that makes it stand out. Plus, it's a great example of how indie games can push the envelope in terms of storytelling and presentation. So if you're on the hunt for something new and you haven't played as Dusk Falls yet, give it a shot. It's a bit off the beaten path, but it's definitely a game that deserves more attention. Let me know if you've played it or if it's something you're considering.
So, you're really going to Canada?
Beyond Two Souls. Alright, let's talk about Beyond Two Souls, a game that definitely deserves more spotlight. If you missed it, don't worry, you're not alone, but this one is worth checking out. So, Beyond Two Souls is an interactive drama from Quantic Dream, and it's got a real cinematic flair. Imagine a game that's like playing through a movie, and you've got the gist of it. The game follows Jodie Holmes, a woman with a unique connection to a supernatural entity named Aiden. The story is presented out of order, which adds this intriguing puzzle element as you piece together Jodie's life and the decisions she's made. It's a bit like watching a jigsaw puzzle come together piece by piece, revealing more of the picture as you go. One of the coolest things about Beyond Two Souls is how it dives deep into emotional storytelling. You're not just passively observing, you're actively involved in shaping Jodie's life through your choices. The emotional highs and lows are pretty intense, and they really make you feel connected to the characters. Gameplay-wise, it's a mix of quick-time events and exploration. You'll find yourself in moments where you need to make quick decisions or control Aiden's supernatural abilities to interact with the environment. It's a bit different from your usual gameplay experience, but it's all about immersing you in the story rather than just racking up high scores or completing puzzles. So, if you're into games that push the boundaries and mix cinematic storytelling with interactive elements, Beyond Two Souls is definitely worth a look. It's not your typical game, but that's part of what makes it special. Open Roads. Alright, let's talk about Open Roads, a game that might have flown under your radar but is worth a look if you're into narrative-driven experiences. Open Roads comes from the folks behind Tacoma and Gone Home, and it's very much in their wheelhouse of story-focused games. The plot centers around Edie and Olivia, a mother-daughter pair who are cleaning out their family home after the death of Edie's mother. Sounds straightforward, right? But the game is packed with emotional depth and family secrets that slowly unravel as you play. Let's start with the positives. The story is where Open Roads really shines. The relationship between Edie and Olivia is portrayed with a lot of nuance, making their interactions feel genuine. The game digs into themes of family, memory, and the past, which can be really compelling if you're into character-driven narratives. The art style also deserves a shout-out. It's got a unique look that combines realism with a bit of stylization, making the game visually interesting without overwhelming the senses. However, it's not all smooth sailing. If you're looking for fast-paced action or complex gameplay mechanics, Open Roads might not be your cup of tea. The game is heavily reliant on dialogue and exploration, which means that if you're not into these slower-paced, story-centric experiences, it might feel a bit sluggish. Some players might also find the pacing a bit uneven, with certain sections dragging on a bit longer than necessary. Also, while the story is engaging, it can sometimes lean into familiar territory. The mystery and emotional beats might feel a bit predictable if you've played similar narrative games before, sure, it's well done, but don't expect any major surprises or twists that'll blow your mind. Overall, Open Roads is a solid game if you're into narrative adventures and don't mind a slower pace. It's got a lot of heart and a compelling story, but it's definitely not for everyone. If you're up for a thoughtful, character-driven experience and don't mind a few pacing hiccups, it's definitely worth checking out. Pentiment. Alright, let's dive into Pentiment, a game that's as unique as it is intriguing. If this one slipped past your radar, here's why it might be worth your attention. Pentiment is a narrative adventure game from Obsidian Entertainment, and it's a bit of a departure from their usual RPG fare. Set in the 16th century, this game takes you to a medieval German village during the Reformation. It's a real departure from the sci-fi and fantasy worlds Obsidian is known for, but that's exactly what makes it stand out. One of the coolest things about Pentiment is its art style. The game draws heavy inspiration from illuminated manuscripts and Renaissance art, giving it this distinct storybook feel. It's like you're playing through a medieval painting, and it's visually stunning in a way that really sets the atmosphere. If you're a fan of art history or just appreciate unique visuals, this is a treat. The story itself is a murder mystery, but it's wrapped up in a lot more than just solving a crime. You're not only piecing together the details of the murder, but also exploring the complexities of the time period, how religion, politics, and daily life intertwined in a way that shapes the narrative. The game does a great job of integrating historical context with its story, making it both educational and engaging. That said, Pentiment isn't without its drawbacks. The pace can be a bit slow, especially if you're not into dialogue-heavy games. There are long stretches where you're navigating conversations and making choices that affect the outcome of the story, which might not appeal to everyone. Also, while the historical detail is impressive, it can sometimes feel overwhelming if you're not familiar with the period. The game does its best to explain things, but there's a lot of context to absorb. Another point to note is that the game's visual style, while unique, might not be everyone's cup of tea. The 2D art and manuscript-inspired graphics are a bold choice, but if you prefer more modern or realistic visuals, this might take some getting used to. Overall, Pentiment is a fascinating and well-crafted game that offers a deep dive into a historical setting with a strong narrative and unique art style. It's definitely worth checking out if you're into narrative adventures and don't mind a bit of a slower pace. It's not for everyone, but if you're up for something different and enjoy a story that's rich with historical context, this one's worth a shot. Returnal. Returnal is a game that flew under the radar for some, but is definitely worth checking out if you're into intense, challenging experiences. Developed by Housemarque, this third-person roguelike shooter places you in the role of Celine, an astronaut trapped on an alien planet who keeps reliving the same day. The standout feature of Returnal is its gameplay. It combines fast-paced shooting with roguelike mechanics, meaning every time you die, you start over from scratch, but with some new upgrades. This cycle of death and rebirth keeps the game feeling fresh, though it can be repetitive if you're not into grinding through tough sections. The controls are tight and the combat is exhilarating with a range of weapons and abilities to keep things interesting. Visually, the game is a treat. The alien landscapes are beautifully rendered with eerie, atmospheric effects that enhance the sense of isolation. Each area feels unique and dangerous, adding to the overall immersion. However, Returnal does have its downsides. The difficulty can be quite steep, which might be a turnoff if you're not a fan of challenging games. The story, while intriguing, can be a bit hard to follow at times, and some players might find it lacking in depth. The roguelike elements might also feel frustrating to those who prefer a more straightforward, linear progression. Overall, Returnal is a solid choice if you're looking for a game that blends challenging gameplay with a compelling atmosphere. It's not for everyone, but if you enjoy sci-fi and don't mind a steep learning curve, it's definitely worth a look. Ultra Age. Ultra Age is a fast-paced action game that might not have made a huge splash, but is worth considering if you're into high-octane combat and stylish visuals. Developed by Next Stage, this game puts you in the role of Age, a young warrior in a post-apocalyptic future, tasked with battling through hordes of enemies to uncover the secrets of a ruined world. The core of Ultra Age is its combat system, which is both flashy and satisfying. You've got a range of weapons and abilities at your disposal, and the game does a good job of making each fight feel dynamic and intense. The combo system is straightforward but effective, allowing you to string together attacks and unleash powerful finishers. If you enjoy games that let you rack up high combos and perform stylish moves, this one delivers. On the downside, Ultra Age has its share of issues. The narrative is pretty thin and doesn't do much to stand out, which can make the game feel a bit aimless at times. The story's lack of depth might leave you less invested in the world and characters. Additionally, the combat, while enjoyable, can become repetitive over time, especially if you're not into grinding through waves of enemies. Some players might find the gameplay loop a bit monotonous after a while. Overall, Ultra Age is a solid action game if you're looking for something with fast combat and eye-catching visuals. It might not break new ground, but it provides a fun experience for fans of the genre. Just be prepared for a bit of repetition and a light story. Road 96. Road 96 is an indie gem that you might have missed, but is definitely worth a look if you're into narrative-driven experiences with a touch of randomness. Developed by DigixArt, this game is a procedurally generated road trip adventure where you play as a teenager trying to escape a dystopian country. What sets Road 96 apart is its storytelling. The game features a unique structure where each playthrough is different thanks to its procedural generation. You'll encounter a variety of characters and situations as you make your way to the border, and each decision you make can impact the outcome of your journey. The narrative is rich with social commentary and emotional depth, making each encounter feel meaningful. Visually, the game has a distinctive style that blends retro and modern elements. The art direction is colorful and expressive, which helps to bring the different characters and environments to life. It's a refreshing change from more realistic visuals and adds a layer of charm to the game. However, Road 96 isn't without its flaws. The procedural generation can lead to some repetition, especially if you're not a fan of the randomness affecting the story. Certain segments can feel like they drag on, and the game's episodic nature might make it feel disjointed at times. Also, while the game's dialogue and choices are intriguing, some players might find that their impact on the overall story isn't as significant as they'd hoped. Overall, Road 96 offers a unique experience with its blend of procedural storytelling and social commentary. It might not be perfect, but it's a worthwhile adventure for those who enjoy narrative-driven games with a bit of randomness thrown in.
Rasputin?
I'm on him.
Psychonauts 2. Psychonauts 2 is a fantastic sequel that picks up right where the original left off, and if you're a fan of quirky, imaginative platformers, this is one you shouldn't miss. Developed by Double Fine, the game brings back Rasputin Raz, Quado, as he continues his journey with the titular psychic espionage organization. The standout feature of Psychonauts 2 is its creativity. The game takes you through a variety of mind-bending worlds, each with its own unique theme and gameplay mechanics. The level design is absolutely top-notch, full of colorful and surreal environments that are a joy to explore. The platforming is smooth and fun, with a variety of psychic powers at your disposal that make each level feel fresh and engaging. The story in Psychonauts 2 is another strong point. It continues the narrative from the first game and dives deeper into Raz's backstory and the mysteries surrounding the Psychonauts. The writing is sharp, with a lot of humor and heart. The characters are well developed and charming, and the voice acting is excellent, bringing the world and its inhabitants to life. Overall, Psychonauts 2 is a fantastic follow-up that captures the charm and creativity of the original while expanding on its world and characters. It's a must-play for fans of the first game and anyone who enjoys inventive platformers with a strong narrative. Prey. Prey 2017 is a game that often flies under the radar, but it's definitely worth checking out if you're a fan of sci-fi thrillers and immersive simulations. Developed by Arcane Studios, this first-person action-adventure game sets you on a space station overrun by hostile aliens, and it's up to you to unravel the mystery and survive. One of Prey's strongest points is its atmosphere. The game is set on the Talos space station, and it nails that sense of isolation and dread. The environment is meticulously designed with a lot of attention to detail detail that makes exploring the station both engaging and eerie. The combination of low gravity, dark corners, and the constant threat of alien attacks creates a tense and immersive experience. The gameplay in Prey is a mix of exploration, combat, and survival. You have a range of tools and abilities at your disposal, from weapons to psychic powers, and the game encourages you to experiment with different strategies. The ability to use alien abilities and the open-ended nature of the game's approach to problems are big highlights, allowing for a lot of creative freedom in how you tackle challenges. Overall, Prey is a solid game that offers a unique and atmospheric experience. It might not be perfect, but its blend of exploration, survival, and sci-fi elements makes it a standout title for those who enjoy a deep, immersive game world. The Saboteur. This game flew under the radar for many, but it's a hidden gem worth checking out. In The Saboteur, you play as Sean Devlin, an Irish race car driver turned resistance fighter in Nazi-occupied France during World War II. The story is gripping, filled with action, revenge, and a personal vendetta against the Nazis. What makes The Saboteur stand out is its unique art style. The game starts in a bleak black and white Paris symbolizing the oppressive Nazi occupation. As you liberate areas and complete missions, color gradually returns, representing hope and freedom. It's a cool visual touch that makes your progress feel impactful. The gameplay is a mix of open world exploration, stealth, and combat. You can climb buildings, sneak past guards, and sabotage enemy operations. The game gives you a lot of freedom to approach missions in different ways, whether you prefer going in guns blazing or taking a more stealthy route. The world of The Saboteur is rich and detailed. Paris and the surrounding countryside are beautifully recreated, with plenty of iconic landmarks to see and explore. There are tons of side missions and collectibles that add to the game's depth and replayability. One of the best parts of the game is the variety of missions. You'll be doing everything from planting explosives and assassinating key targets to engaging in high-speed chases and rescuing prisoners. Each mission feels fresh and exciting, keeping you engaged throughout. Despite its unique style and engaging gameplay, The Saboteur didn't get the attention it deserved when it was released. It's a game that offers a lot of fun and excitement but flew under the radar for many players. If you're looking for an underrated game with a great story, unique visuals, and plenty of action, The Saboteur is a must-play. It's a fantastic adventure through a beautifully realized World War II setting that you'll thoroughly enjoy.
One day you'll have to tell me how you came by these scars.
The Surge. This game is a fantastic blend of action and RPG elements that didn't get the spotlight it deserved. In The Surge, you play as Warren, a new employee at a tech company called Creo. After a catastrophic event, you find yourself in a dystopian future filled with rogue robots and deranged ex-employees. The story is dark and intriguing, exploring themes of corporate greed and technological advancement gone wrong. What sets The Surge apart is its unique combat system. It's often compared to the Dark Souls series because of its challenging tactical combat, but The Surge adds its own twist with a focus on targeting specific body parts of enemies. You can choose to attack an enemy's armored parts to potentially gain new gear, or aim for unarmored spots for a quicker kill. It's a strategic layer that makes every fight engaging and rewarding. The game's world is industrial and gritty, with detailed environments that tell the story of Creo's downfall. Exploring the facility, you'll find hidden paths, shortcuts, and plenty of secrets that encourage thorough exploration. The level design is smart and interconnected, giving you a sense of progression as you unlock new areas. The Surge also has a deep crafting and upgrade system. As you defeat enemies, you can collect parts to upgrade your gear and craft new weapons. This adds a satisfying loop of combat, collection, and improvement that keeps you hooked. The gear you collect isn't just for show, it significantly impacts your playstyle and strategy in combat. The enemies in the Surge are varied and challenging. From smaller drones to massive, heavily armored foes, each encounter requires you to adapt and think on your feet. Boss battles are a highlight, offering intense multi-phase fights that test your skills and patience. Despite its solid gameplay and unique mechanics, The Surge didn't achieve mainstream success. It's a game that offers a lot of depth and challenge but didn't get the attention it deserved. If you're a fan of challenging action RPGs with a unique twist, The Surge is definitely worth playing. It's a hidden gem that combines strategic combat, deep customization, and an intriguing dystopian world. Give it a try, and you might find yourself hooked on its relentless and rewarding gameplay.
Home sweet home.
Evil West. Evil West is one of those games that just comes out of nowhere and hits you with a sucker punch of pure, unadulterated fun. It's not trying to win any awards for storytelling or reinvent the wheel, it's just there to be a wild ride. Imagine this, you're a cowboy in the Old West, but instead of dealing with your run-of-the-mill outlaws, you're out there hunting down bloodthirsty vampires and other nasty supernatural creatures. And you've got a bunch of cool weapons and gadgets to do it with. It's like someone took Van Helsing, threw in a heavy dose of Clint Eastwood, and cranked the dial up to 11. The combat is chunky and satisfying in a way that you don't always get from the big AAA titles. It's got that old school feel where every punch, kick, and shot has weight. You've got this insane mix of gunplay and melee attacks that makes you feel like you're in some sort of bizarre Wild West street brawl with monsters. And yeah, it's kind of goofy at times, but that's exactly what makes it great. It's got that campy B-movie vibe that you don't see much of these days. The game knows exactly what it is, and it leans into that with no shame whatsoever. And let's talk about the setting for a second. The game doesn't hold back on the visuals. The environments are beautifully crafted, blending the dusty, desolate feel of the Old West with a gothic, almost Lovecraftian horror aesthetic. It's a looker, but not in the way you'd expect from a game that doesn't have that triple a budget. It's got charm and style, two things that sometimes get lost in bigger titles trying too hard to check every box. But what really makes Evil West stand out is how unapologetically fun it is. It's one of those games that reminds you why you started playing video games in the first place, just pure entertainment without all the fluff. And that's why it deserves a spot on this list. If you're into action games with a unique twist, give it a go. It might just surprise you. Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush is like stumbling into a party where everyone's dancing to the beat of their own drum and suddenly you're the star of the show. This game is a rhythm-based action game that doesn't just play with music, it's built around it. Imagine a world where every attack, dodge, and move is synced perfectly to a killer soundtrack. It's like if a rhythm game and a stylish action game had a wild, neon-soaked baby. You play as Shy, a character who's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder. Literally, he's got a robotic heart and a love for music. He's thrown into a world where he's fighting against a corrupt mega corporation, all while grooving to a soundtrack that ranges from pumping rock to smooth jazz. The music isn't just background noise, it's the heartbeat of the game. Your actions are synced to the rhythm, which makes everything feel dynamic and connected. Miss a beat, and you might find yourself on the receiving end of a beatdown. The combat is where Hi-Fi Rush truly shines. It's fast, it's flashy, and it feels incredibly satisfying. There's a rhythm to it, but it's not just about hitting notes, it's about blending your moves in time with the music to pull off these stylish combos. It's like dancing with your enemies, and it's a blast. You get to pull off all sorts of crazy moves, from basic attacks to over-the-top special abilities, and it all flows together in this beautiful, chaotic symphony. The visuals are a treat for the eyes, too. The game has this vibrant comic book style art that pops off the screen. It's full of personality with characters and environments that are just dripping with style. The animation is smooth and energetic, matching the pulse of the soundtrack. And speaking of the soundtrack, it's not just a collection of tracks slapped together. It's curated to fit the game's mood perfectly, making every fight, every exploration feel like it's part of a much bigger rhythm. What really sets Hi-Fi Rush apart is how it makes you feel like you're part of a living, breathing music video. The game's full of humor and charm, and it doesn't take itself too seriously, which makes it even more enjoyable. It's a game that's meant to be fun, to make you tap your feet and grin as you pull off some ridiculously cool moves.
You don't scare us.
If you're into action games that bring a fresh twist to the genre, Hi-Fi Rush is definitely worth your time. It's got a beat that'll get your blood pumping in a style that'll leave you with a smile on your face. It's a rhythm game with an attitude, and it's a blast from start to finish, so if you're looking for something that's a bit different and a whole lot of fun, this one's definitely worth checking out.
Long ago.
Lost in Random. Lost in Random feels like stepping into a darkly whimsical fairy tale where chance and fate play the lead roles. The game's got this enchanting Tim Burton-esque vibe that's hard to ignore, with a world that's both charming and a little eerie, the kind of place where anything can happen, and often does. You follow the story of Even, a young girl on a quest to rescue her sister, Odd, from the clutches of a sinister queen who controls everything with dice. Yep, dice. The entire world of Lost in Random is built around this concept of randomness and chance. Every decision, every twist in the story feels like it's being influenced by the roll of a die, which gives the game a really unique, unpredictable feel. The gameplay mixes up action and strategy in a way that feels fresh. You've got a cool deck building mechanic where you collect cards that give you different abilities, you roll your die, and then use the cards you've drawn to pull off various attacks or actions. It's kind of like blending a board game with an action RPG, and it works really well. There's something incredibly satisfying about rolling the dice, pulling out a card, and then seeing how the randomness plays out in real time. Visually, the game is a treat. It's got this storybook aesthetic with detailed, hand-drawn art that makes every scene feel like a page from a fantastical book. The character designs are quirky and memorable, from Even's determined expression to the whimsical, often creepy inhabitants of Random. The environments are full of little details that make the world feel alive and magical, and the animations bring everything to life with a smooth, fluid motion that's a joy to watch. The story, while whimsical, has some real depth to it. It's about more than just rescuing your sister, it's about confronting the randomness of life and finding your own path in a world where nothing is certain. The dialogue is full of clever writing and touches of dark humor, which keeps things engaging and adds a lot of personality to the characters in the world. One of the standout features is how Lost in Random makes you think about the role of chance in your life. It's not just a game about rolling dice, it's a game that asks you to consider how randomness shapes your choices and your destiny. And while it's definitely a game that plays with those ideas, it never feels preachy or heavy-handed. If you're into games with a unique style, engaging mechanics, and a story that's as thought-provoking as it is enchanting, Lost in Random is worth diving into. It's a charming, whimsical adventure that'll keep you on your toes and make you think twice about the role of fate in your own life. Plus, it's just a lot of fun to explore.
Had been taken away from her, and in all that time,
some of them call me
Enslaved Odyssey to the West. Alright, let's talk about Enslaved Odyssey to the West, a game that beautifully blends action, storytelling, and a post-apocalyptic setting. Developed by Ninja Theory and released in 2010, this game takes you on an epic journey inspired by the ancient Chinese novel Journey to the West. You play as Monkey, a strong and agile warrior who's teamed up with Trip, a tech-savvy young woman, as they navigate a dangerous world filled with hostile robots and crumbling ruins. One of the first things that strikes you about Enslaved is its stunning visuals. The game's world is a vibrant, overgrown dystopia where nature has reclaimed the remnants of human civilization. It's both beautiful and haunting, with detailed environments that draw you into the story. The character design is equally impressive, with motion capture performances that bring Monkey and Trip to life in a way that feels real and emotionally engaging. The gameplay is a mix of platforming, combat, and puzzle solving. Monkey's agility allows you to climb and swing through the environment with ease, while his combat skills let you take on groups of enemies with fluid and satisfying moves. Trip, on the other hand, provides tech support, hacking into systems, and offering strategic advice. The dynamic between the two characters adds depth to the gameplay, as you need to rely on each other to survive.
Are you okay?
The story is another standout aspect of Enslaved. It's a character-driven narrative that explores themes of freedom, trust, and survival. The relationship between Monkey and Trip evolves throughout the game, with excellent voice acting and writing that make their journey compelling.
Oh, so horrible, I can feel it breathing! Come on! Come on! Monkey's right there, it's coming! Come on!
Despite its strengths, Enslaved Odyssey to the West didn't achieve the commercial success it deserved. Released during a crowded fall season, it was overshadowed by other major titles. Additionally, its unique blend of gameplay and storytelling may not have immediately appealed to a broad audience. For me, Enslaved is one of those hidden gems that truly deserves more recognition. It's a game that combines beautiful visuals, engaging gameplay, and a heartfelt story in a way that few games manage to do. If you're looking for an adventure that's both thrilling and emotionally resonant, give Enslaved Odyssey to the West a try. The Evil Within 2. Alright, let's talk about The Evil Within 2. This game, developed by Tango Gameworks and released in 2017, is all about survival horror. You play as Sebastian Castellanos, a former detective who's had a pretty rough time. He lost his daughter, but gets a chance to save her, which means diving back into a creepy alternate reality called STEM, filled with all sorts of nasty creatures and psychological terrors. First off, this game nails the horror vibe. The environments are super eerie, think abandoned towns and otherworldly nightmares. It's not just about running and gunning though. You have to be smart with your resources because ammo is limited. Sometimes it's better to sneak past enemies than to confront them head on. This makes every encounter feel tense and strategic. The semi-open world structure is a nice touch. You can explore different areas, looking for supplies and uncovering secrets. The game also lets you upgrade Sebastian and his gear so you can play the way you want. The controls and mechanics feel solid, making both combat and stealth satisfying. The story is pretty gripping too. Sebastian's quest to save his daughter adds a lot of emotional weight to the game. There are plenty of twists and turns to keep you hooked, and the characters are well developed. Despite being such a great game, The Evil Within 2 didn't get the attention it deserved when it came out. It was released around the same time as a bunch of other big games, and the first game had mixed reviews, which probably didn't help. For me, The Evil Within 2 is a standout horror game. It's not just about cheap scares, it builds a creepy atmosphere that keeps you on edge. If you're into horror games or just want something that'll keep you glued to your screen, you've got to give this one a try. It's one of those hidden gems that'll stay with you long after you finish playing.